Okay guys, so we're going to break the deadlift down into 3 components. Step 1 is optimal setup point, step 2 is what I like to call positioning, and step 3 is the lift and brace. So with the setup, we're going to look at 3 things: foot position, hand position, and scapular position. From the front here, we're going to see foot and hand position, so we will look at scapular position when we take a separate angle. So to determine the best place for your hands and your feet, we're going to grab the bar on the closest part of the knurling to where it begins. So I'm an 80 kilo lifter, so anyone between 80 and 90 kilos, this should be a nice little starting point. As a rule of thumb, the wider the lifter, the wider the hand position. From there, the foot position is going to be within these hands. Now, the feet want to be narrow enough to allow the knees to externally rotate into the arms. This is what's going to help create rotational torque of the hip, which is going to allow the hips to extend easier towards the lockout. This should ensure that we have maximal engagement through the hips and we don't have our knees collapsing inwards. Okay, so from the side-on angle, we can now look at step 3 of the setup, being scapular position. So for optimal scapular position, we want our scaps to be directly over the bar. If we come too far over the bar, this is going to cause the lower back to load too much, and if we come too far back, we're going to end up squatting the bar up and the knees are going to get in the way. There certainly are other things we can look at to optimize the setup. However, these 3 things should ensure that we're at a really good starting point to begin with. Okay, so we've now been able to determine a repeatable starting point for the lift. The second phase we're going to move into now is positioning. So I truly believe that positioning is the most important and overlooked point of the deadlift. So what positioning is it's understanding where our most optimal starting position to commence the lift is. Now when we commence the deadlift, we have to create maximal tension at the bottom of the lift prior to breaking contact with the ground. So as we create tightness by optimizing our position, we're going to be doing several things. Step 1 is going to be pulling the slack out of the bar. This is creating maximal tension on the bar before we break contact with the floor, so it's not going to pull us out of position once we start the lift. Step 2 is going to be pushing the knees softly into the arms. This is creating rotational torque in the hip and tightness in the hips. Step 3 is going to be pulling the chest up so we can create upper back tension, and step 4 is going to be pulling our shoulder blades down towards our back pockets, creating tension in the lats. And the final step of our conventional deadlifting is the lift itself. Seeing that we've perfected our setup and our positioning, all this leaves us to do is take a big breath of air in, brace our abs as hard as possible, and push the ground away.